What's up, everyone? I'm Jeffrey at Lightbox, and I'm really excited to partner with Crocoblock for this summit. What we're going to be looking at here and right now are going to be the things that I wish I had learned and had been shown in the very beginning of my journey as a freelancer and agency owner. Now, taking that first giant leap into becoming a full-time and full-on freelancer, it's a life-changing step. It really, really is. And especially for those of us who come from different backgrounds that aren't even related to web design, development, the creative industry, and so on. Well, this could be a very, very different life-changing step. And that was my story. See, I came from a background of working in machine shops, construction, warehouses. I did a lot of physical and manual labor. And then finally, at the very end of doing all that, I ended up in Home Depot and worked my way up to a manager, which I thought I made it with a decent salary and so on. But the thing is, I was not happy. I was not feeling fulfilled. I felt like something was off in my life. And that's when I went out and explored and tried to find, what do I really want to do? And so I made my decision. I decided to go full on into web development and started studying and learning web development. Quit my job at the Home Depot, took another really bad job to support myself while I'm learning how to code. After 6 months of doing that and dealing with probably the worst manager that I ever worked for inside my life, in a job where I was very, very undervalued and just treated badly, I just went all in. 6 months after learning HTML, CSS, and so on, I decided to go full-time freelancer and just go dive headfirst into this. And I have to tell you this, all right, my first year as a freelancer, it was super freeing. Like, I woke up every day excited. I was building websites, learning new things, and I loved it. The freedom, I just loved it. I couldn't wait to wake up to go jump on the computer and start building sites. But that first year, though, I was also super broke and barely getting by. I mean, I literally survived off of noodles that first year. I didn't even know how I was going to pay my rent every single month. Like, it was a lot of close calls. But that was okay, because at the time I was learning. I was still learning how to develop the skill of building websites. And it's really important when we start off inside this journey that we get good enough at our craft to be able to deliver value that is actually going to have a positive impact on our clients and their business. We want to make sure we deliver value, because the truth is, if we do not develop those core skills in the service that we're providing, well, not only are we not going to deliver value or have that positive impact on our client's business, we could actually have a negative impact. And, we want to avoid that. We don't want to harm our client's business. So I was totally okay with that. My first year, I was just excited to be free from a terrible job and a terrible boss. I was excited to explore my creativity and to learn web development and learn WordPress and all that. It was just a new world that was exciting. That first year was all about developing the skills of my craft. Here's the thing, when we start off as a freelancer and we're working as a freelancer, we got to learn a lot more than just our craft. I mean, first, it is important to learn our craft and get good at it, but there's a lot more, because essentially we are running our own business. It's just us. We have to do everything. We got to communicate with a client. We got to be able to write proposals. We got to quote projects. We got to manage the projects. There's so many things that goes into it. And I like to break these down and look at these skills as two different types of skills. We have our hard skills and our soft skills. The hard skills are the things that we recognize in the very beginning as a freelancer. These are, like, for example, if we're a web developer or a WordPress developer, is getting really good at building WordPress websites. If it is, becoming a web designer, we want to get really good at something like Figma and being able to design mockups, UI design, and so on. So those are the hard skills. The soft skills, though, those are all the other things that we need to learn and develop in order to run successful businesses. And that's everything from managing a project to pricing a project, doing proposals, even keeping track of our records and doing our own bookkeeping. I mean, the list goes on. Now, when it comes to soft skills, they're not really recognizable at first, but this is a reason why this is the video that I wish I would have seen when I was new and started off, because I didn't even realize how important these are. So let's take a look at both the hard skills and the soft skills. First, hard skills, I go by a philosophy, and that's to master one thing at a time. If you are deciding to work and just build WordPress websites, master building WordPress websites. If you want to be a developer, say you want to be a Python developer, well, master Python first. Master one thing, because if you focus on that hard skill and mastering that one hard skill, then you're going to be a step closer to being an expert where you could deliver something of high value for your clients. That is for the hard skills. Now, over to our soft skills. These are the ones that are really important for us to learn in order to grow a business. These ones are the ones that are usually often overlooked. But that's the reason why we're doing this and why I want to make this video, because this is what I wish I was taught when I started off as a freelancer. Now, the most important soft skills that I believe any freelancer should learn are going to be project management, sales, and marketing. These are probably the most impactful, not even probably, these are the most impactful soft skills that you could possibly learn starting a freelance business, and not just as a freelancer, but also as an agency owner. One of my biggest challenges when I started off freelancing was keeping a project on track. I dealt with a lot of scope creep, a lot of unforeseen things that needed to get done inside of a project. Projects I thought were going to be this big turned out to be this big. Also dealt with a lot of clients disappearing or taking ages to deliver content. And the problem with this is that I needed to get that project to the finish line, be able to complete it, and collect that final payment. I relied on that final payment, especially my first year, in order just to pay my rent. So when a client disappeared or kept coming back and asking for more changes and to do more on the website, that was pretty stressful because I couldn't get paid, I couldn't complete it, it would start to overlap into other projects. It was a bit overwhelming, and I did not know how to just keep it on track. This is where learning project management is going to help out. Project management is going to help you to manage that scope and to keep the project on track. It's going to help to set a timeline and to manage that timeline and keep the project on that timeline. And if the project falls off, to navigate and steer it back on track. And that all comes from learning project management. With project management, we're going to learn how to manage that scope, but then also how to manage the project outcomes. The next big problem I had in my first couple years was my mindset around money. You see, I'm a creative and I have a creative mind. I discovered this going down this journey and building websites and design and so on inside this creative industry. I didn't even realize I was creative. I had no idea until I got involved in the creative industry. But I discovered, though, I did have an issue with the mindset around money. It was a limiting mindset. This is where sales comes in. All right, at first, again, the limited mindset that I've had about money and sales is that sales is icky. Even when I talk about it or hear it, I felt icky. I felt like, I just recoil from sales. But when running a business, we can't afford to be grossed out by sales. It is very, very important. We got to embrace it. The first step, at least for me, and if you are similar to me, where you're really not a business thinker or a sales thinker, you're more of a creative, well, the first step was to change the mindset, and it takes time. Now, a big part of changing that mindset was to start having money conversations with clients and to walk through that uncomfortability. Now, this helped me out right here. One thing we got to realize, other businesses don't have the same limiting mindset. They don't think about sales the same way that we might be thinking about it. They're not grossed out about it. They don't recoil when you start talking about money, because a lot of businesses, most of them out there, prefer to talk about money up front. They want to get the dollars out. They want to get the numbers out. They're running a business. A business runs off of finances, off of money. They look at numbers, they look at data and all that stuff. So that was one thing to help out with getting through that mindset, was to realize it was me, it wasn't them. So walking through that uncomfortability is the first step. What ends up happening when we start walking through the uncomfortability and start getting more comfortable with sales is that we start to learn how to price our services better. And through time and through work, well, we could really get a good sense of where the market is at and how much we should be charging. This way, we could prevent ourselves from undercharging and undervaluing ourselves. And then eventually, when we focus on sales, we could start to learn some sales techniques as well. This way we can negotiate better and we could, talk a whole lot better about it. And when we pitch our services and our value proposition to our clients in the call, well, we learn these sales techniques, we could close projects at a higher price. My next biggest challenge that I had as a freelancer starting off my business was I was in a constant state of feast or famine. Let me explain. When I got clients in the very beginning, they all came from word of mouth. They all came from referrals. And to keep it real, my first 2 years, I was super busy. I used to joke around that and say that my biggest problem was I was too busy and I got too much work. And I did. But I didn't realize with all that joking around that this was actually a much bigger problem that I just couldn't see. You see, my first year, like I said before, I was broke my first year, barely getting by because I was learning how to get good. But I treated every client like they were gold. I went way above and beyond for them, so they were very happy to give referrals. Also, I priced everything very low because I was scared to talk about money. I had no sales skills, and so I was pricing things way lower than what I should have. So I got a lot of referrals. They kept coming in. My second year, I actually started doing really good. My prices started going up. I was no longer living month to month. I was saving money. I was able to start traveling again. In fact, year 2 as a freelancer, I was making pretty good money. Like I was making almost as much as I was as a manager at the Home Depot, which is really great. And I thought like I was really on a good path. But I was in that state of feast and famine and didn't even realize it. See, what I mean by feast and famine is when we're relying on one source of leads, which for me was referrals and word of mouth. And I'm guessing for many other new freelancers, it's the same as well. By relying on this unpredictable flow of new clients, well, I felt like I had to take every single project that came my way, and this caused me to take projects that were way underpriced, projects with clients that showed all kinds of red flags that I knew was going to be a problem if I took this project, and projects that weren't exciting to me and I did not want to do. Well, I took them all, no matter what. I took them and I charged less if they didn't have the money. It was just bad because the thing that happened was I was always in fear of what happens if I say no and I don't get another lead that comes my way. That kept me in fear. And then when I do take a project, let's say I took a project and there was a lot of red flags in it. I knew the project was going to be problematic. It was not going to go well. It already started off that way. I could already see it. And it wasn't priced well. So I really wasn't making that much. But I would take it. And then the law of attractions kicks in. And then 2 weeks later, I get a new lead for a project that actually looks good and pays a lot more as well. But now I'm trying to work on 2 projects. And then a third project comes in as well. And I can't say no. And so now I'm trying to juggle projects. And I still don't even have project management skills really developed enough to manage that. And all of a sudden, now I'm in feast mode, working 7 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day, getting burnt out really quickly, and so on. So feast mode kept me in burnout and saying yes to everything. And then famine mode was where leads didn't come through. 1, 2, 3 months at a time. I remember went 3 months without getting a lead that came my way. And that's scary. That's not a place we want to be. And if we look at all the problems that web designers, web developers, WordPress developers, that they come out and they ask help for is to find clients. Finding clients is the biggest challenge and biggest problem that most of us freelancing in the creative industry has. And also for agency owners, it's also difficult for agency owners if we don't have a sales funnel, if we're not focused on marketing. And that's what we need to do. First, we got to avoid feast or famine. We can't just rely for clients to come to us, especially if we haven't built a sales funnel. And that is what we need to do. I mean, if you look at any business out there, any business, and just look at your clients, they all need to have marketing in order to bring customers into them. We have to do the same. There is nothing different between our business and other businesses when it comes to having to have a marketing plan and a sales funnel and a way to bring in new customers and clients. No business will survive without it. I mean, it's just something that is absolutely necessary. But for some reason, us creatives, we overlook it. When we get into freelancing, we completely overlook this area. And then we're stuck struggling, wonder, how can I get clients? How can I get clients? Often I get asked, how can I find clients? I get asked inside our communities. Now, I can't tell you go out and do some email campaigns. I can't tell you go out and do some Google ads, do some Facebook ads. Everybody's different. The only thing I can tell you to do is to go and build a marketing plan and a sales funnel. You got to take time on that. And again, I'm going to keep reverting back to the mindset because this is all mindset stuff. We got to change the way that we think. We're not just building websites for clients. We're building a business for ourselves that happens to build websites for clients. This mindset shift, these changes, these soft skills that we're learning, the other parts of a business that we are learning, these are essential, especially if we want to make that transition from a freelancer to an agency owner. You see, as long as we stay in that process of learning and growing, and as long as we are putting focus and effort into our own growth and we're investing in ourselves and we're at least doing the work, well, those soft skills are going to come organically when we're freelancing. Even though if this is all new to you and these concepts and this thought process is completely new to you, just like it was to me as a freelancer, you're already building this organically because we have no other option but to do these things when we are taking projects for clients. Now, going from a freelancer to an agency owner, well, things start to change. We got to start taking things to the next level. It's important that we got to start putting awareness and focus into these soft skills, into the other areas of business in order to develop those skills and what we need to help our business grow. And not just grow, but simply survive, really. Because here's my story. When I started my agency, it was the third year of my journey as a web developer. Now, my second year as a freelancer, I absolutely crushed it. Things were going really, really good. I was growing fast, and I thought I was ready. And the reason why I started an agency is that I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to push myself. I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. I wanted to build something and see what I could achieve. Also, I wanted to give opportunities to others. That was a very big thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to build something that helped other people out. I wanted a team and I wanted to give other people jobs and so on. So in my third year, I started a company. I jumped ahead too quickly without preparing or knowing really what I was doing. And then I failed. I failed hard because I jumped too far, too fast without knowing what I was doing. I was reckless. And it cost me so much. Like it cost me my health. It cost me everything I had, my savings. But it cost me a lot more. It hurt me spiritually as well. The worst thing I've had to do in my business, and I believe this for any business owner that has a heart, the worst thing that any business owner could do is to let go employees because a business is failing. Like still that day where I had to do that, it still haunts me. I feel it right now. I could feel it. I could still visualize that day. It was the worst thing I ever had to do since I started this path and this journey as a web creator trying to build an agency. And, after that first year, I had to step back as soon as I could. I stepped back and I went back into freelancer mode. I needed to take a step back because I was burnt out. The stress that I was feeling, the weight that I was gaining, it affected me inside every area of my life, including my own personal relationship. And I had to take a step back and I had to analyze and I had to process and figure out and look at, why did this happen? Why did I fail so bad? Why did this happen so badly? I mean, it was so bad. Why? And I figured it out. It came to me that I just didn't know anything. I did not know how to run a business. So I'm back in freelancer mode and I'm now trying to learn how to run a business. And now I'm starting to focus on it. I'm starting to focus on how to do sales and marketing, how to build a company. And I'm starting to read books and consume different content. Before as a freelancer, consuming content about how to build a WordPress website or how to design something. Now I'm consuming content on how do you run a company. Then I stumbled upon the Future Pro group with Chris Do. I joined that group and I was there for close to 2 years. And that's where the transformation started to take place because now I was focused and aware on my own business development. And business development and personal development, they go hand in hand. They work together. Now, when I was inside the Future Pro group, it was $150 a month and I was broke. I lost everything in my first year as an agency owner. I was broke. I went back to freelancing. I wasn't getting any leads because I had no sales funnel coming in. But I still put the last dollars that I had every single month into investing in myself. And I got everything back tenfold. Because once we start this journey in business development and focus on it, that is when our businesses as creatives start to grow. And see, this is, I feel, the biggest challenge that I see most of us have. Most of us come into this as a creative when we focus on design, development, building websites for clients. But we don't realize that just as equally important as it is into learning those skills on how to build a website or how to design something, it's equally important to learn how to run a business and start to study and put in the time to develop those skills. Now, after about a good 6 months going back to freelancing and taking time to start to study and learn business development, I was ready to go ahead and give it another shot again. I got up off my knees, I dusted the dirt off, and I took another step forward. But this time, I did things a whole lot differently. The big difference this time around is the whole mindset shift that I had. Instead of just focusing on trying to build super dope websites, I was now focused on building a company and building a business. See, the difference between a freelancer and an agency owner. Well, I'll give you my thoughts and my opinions. And I'm sure if you ask 20 different agency owners, you'll get 20 different answers. But here's mine, my idea, my opinion of the difference between the two. A freelancer is a contractor that is hired to complete a project. That is what they're doing. An agency owner is somebody running a business that uses a contractor to complete a project. Now, you could be a one-person agency owner. It's totally possible. But you got to look at yourself separately as well as the agency owner and as the contractor to complete the project. So it's all going to be, I feel, coming down to the mindset, the way you look at it. A freelancer, they got the skill. They're going to complete something. They're a contractor. They're hired to complete something specific. An agency owner is somebody focused on a business that is using the tools that they have in order to complete something. Agencies are basically gateways between a client and contractor. That is one of the big differences. And as an agency owner, we put more focus and awareness around our business development and managing and growing our business. Now, I want to go back to those 3 core soft skills that we looked at as a freelancer. As a freelancer, we're starting to learn those and it's going to come organically, whether you're focused on them or not. If you're focused on them, well, you're going to learn quite faster. You'll be able to develop quicker. But as an agency owner, now we got to purposely focus and develop them. So we're going to take things to the next level. For example, we have project management. Not only do we want to control the scope and timeline, but this is where we start to build processes, systems, SOPs. This is where we start to put things in place. We want to be able to automate things and we work on it. Like this is something very specific that takes time and dedication to work on. When we are building processes and systems, we are now preparing for contractors and other freelancers that could fit inside the process and system. And here's the reason why this is super important. This is an absolute must for an agency owner, is because let's say a client comes to us and they need a website built, and we're going to go ahead and build it with Elementor. And we could go ahead now and have a mock-up in Figma. We could create exactly what we need done. We could put together a scope list and all that stuff, and we could give it to a contractor. And they could be really good at building Elementor websites, and we could say, hey, we need you to build this Elementor website. Here's a problem though. If they don't have a process, a system, or an SOP to follow, they're going to do their own thing. And if you have 3 different people doing this, they're all going to do it differently. And with Elementor, there's so much room for just having things inconsistent. For an example, you might have one contractor, one freelancer that uses everything in pixels and they use only margins. You might have the next one that only uses paddings and has everything in rem. You might hire another one that just likes to hard code everything. They create their own CSS framework and start adding classes to all their widgets. The end result of the website might come out all looking good, but still, a big box is being opened for problems because those inconsistencies are going to start building up and they're going to cause a whole lot of problems inside of the future. As an agency owner, I got to be able to structure exactly how do I want this built. We got to be able to create something that everybody could replicate and everybody is on the same track. Like for myself, I have a couple developers on my team that I work with and I develop myself. We have to create a process and a system that we all could follow. That way we could collaborate, we could work together. There's no surprises. You might have been in this situation before where you have to jump into a website to fix something, then the other developer did it in a complete different way that you would have done something. It could be a headache. And this is where we see the problems come up. But when you do focus on having a process, a system, and the SOP in place, you could have everybody working in harmony. And it is a beautiful thing to have. It is sweet. Like I've been working with my guys now for years and we're all on track. It is awesome to have, but it takes time to put together. And once you start doing this right here and start focusing on processes and systems, it's not just say building an Elementor website, but this could go across all the different areas of how we are working and servicing our clients. When we start building processes and systems, well, the first step is to just start building and building. And you're going to keep seeing like what's working and what's not working. Usually at first, the first systems that you build, they usually don't work. At least for me, it didn't. But then we start to find what didn't work and start to fine tune it. And you keep changing and pivoting until it starts to work. And once we get a system and a process that works, then we have something in place that everybody could replicate and follow. Then the thing is, as an agency owner, what I start to look at is how could we continue to improve this? Just because it is working doesn't mean to just let it be. I want to keep finding ways to improve the system and the process. How can we streamline this? How can we make it easier for other people to follow? And so on. So we're taking our project management to the next level. Now our sales. Hopefully by now, once you're running an agency and starting to get some experience, you're more comfortable talking about money, especially if you've had any scares and if you're responsible for other people and a whole lot more expenses. It gets easier to talk about because we know like, hey, we need to make this amount in order to cover our overhead and payroll. Now in complete transparency, I had a big limiting mindset around money and it still isn't that comfortable for me to talk about, but I have no problem talking about it. As an agency owner, what helped me was changing my mindset and focusing on value. I shifted my mindset to purely think about value constantly. You know, okay, say for an example, for pricing things, I wanted to charge more, but it was a bit intimidating. It's not easy. And when I tried to charge more, I did lose a lot more sales. Thing is, I didn't really have that much confidence talking about it or, raising prices. But when I started to focus on value, first thing was learning about my own value and being very, very honest with myself, trying to understand the value that is being offered. And everybody here watching this is offering some sort of value. Now, our value could come in many different forms. The first form is the actual skill of our hard skill that we're providing. So if it's like we're just building a website, is how good is that website going to be? But there's a whole lot more that goes to just a website. Maybe you have a strong area inside content. Maybe you can see the way content should be structured. Maybe you have an eye for design, or maybe you are better at the technical side, making things go a whole lot faster. So these are different value areas that we need to learn about ourselves, and we need to understand. That way we could, feel confident when we are pricing that value. There's also other value areas as well, because we have past experiences. So even if you came from a whole different industry, nothing that had anything to do with the creative industry, you had another job where you did, I don't know, I can't think of anything on top of my head, but you did something in that job, and that something helped you develop a certain skill. Well, how can you bring that skill to help this client out? Maybe you're really good at communicating. Maybe you're super friendly. There's all kinds of different areas that we could add value. So it's really important to understand that. But the next thing to understand is, where can we add more, and to continue focusing on how can we improve value. I'm constantly focused on how can I give more, how can I do more. I never want to stop that, because the only way I could justify to myself for raising prices, for charging more, for being able to give more, is that I have to be able to give more. I have to be able to give more value. I like to put value with sales. That's just what works for me. The mindset around it, though, what it has done for me, it has kept me to focus on the value, and the sales follow with it. Like, I'm not trying to go into a project to see how much I could get. It's not even about that. It's about how much can I give, and what do I believe is that worth. Changing that mindset and focusing on value as an agency owner, you're going to be able to start to raise prices. You're going to be able to continue to increase your prices, but also increase your client value as well. Because as we start to grow and we are offering more value, we're going to start to attract better clients. We're going to start to want to work with better clients, higher quality type of clients that are more of our target audience that we want to work with. When it comes to taking our marketing to the next level as an agency owner, we got to have sales funnels in place. We need a predictable flow of new clients and new businesses. And ideally, it's great to have at least an inbound and an outbound. I always want to have at least one of each coming through. Sometimes it's good to have 3, maybe 4. Too many sales funnels is too much to focus on. I still go back to the mastering one thing at a time mentality that I started off with as learning web development. Sales funnels is very similar, but we want more than just one sales funnel. But we want to master them. We want to nurture them. We got to give love to them. See, the thing is, when we're freelancing and we get a lot of clients coming in, we find a way to get new clients, and we get super busy. And then whatever we were doing to get those new clients, we just stop doing them because we start building websites. And that's natural as a freelancer. But as an agency owner, we cannot afford to do that. We can't take the foot off the gas of the marketing. If business gets really good and we start getting a lot of leads and a lot of really great clients, we as agency owners still need to keep putting in the work for our marketing. And this is another big difference right here. So a good thing to do is have one inbound and outbound, at least minimal, for revenue coming in. Another thing is we want to start looking at multiple revenue streams. At first, I had one revenue stream, which is to build a website. That was it. And it was good. That's like the bread and butter. We could get really good, paying projects from just building a website. But as an agency owner, we want to start to look at how can we expand. We could always start to offer a new service. Maybe we want to learn and start to offer SEO. Maybe we want to start to offer social media marketing, content writing. So there's a lot of parallel services to building a website that we could start to add along in our services, giving us multiple revenue streams. Now, there is one that is very, very important, and that is something with a monthly recurring revenue. an MRR for an agency owner and a freelancer. If you are new or whatever level you are at, I cannot stress the importance of starting to build an MRR as soon as possible. If it wasn't for having an MRR, I wouldn't have had that freedom that I had around my third, fourth year as an agency owner to grow and expand. You see, that monthly recurring revenue is going to give you a predictable income every single month. This will give you freedom to hire somebody. This will give you the freedom to say no to a project that you feel does not have the budget or too many red flags. This is going to give you that freedom and that peace of mind knowing that, hey, my expenses and overhead will be covered, or my contractor or freelancer or team member, their income is going to be secured as well. Their pay will be secured. A perfect place to start is going to be WordPress maintenance plans. That was where I started. And that was because really at first, it was because I recognized a problem my clients were having. I was building them websites. They were left to their own devices, trying to manage and keep up their websites, and they just ran into all kinds of problems constantly. They came back and things went wrong, and I realized that I needed to do something to help my clients manage their websites. And that's when I started offering WordPress maintenance plans. And here's the thing, when we do offer another revenue stream, we got to treat it like another business. And that's what I do with our care plans and our management plans. They have their own processes and systems. Like, took proper time out to structure a business just for that area. And as we build it, we can start to do that to more areas for more services that we want to start to offer. As an agency owner, this is what we want to do with our marketing. We want to make sure that we have our sales funnels coming in. We want to make sure we diversify them. We want to make sure we diversify our revenue streams and start to add in multiple revenue streams. And then also to create a monthly recurring business as well for more predictable income. If you are wanting to make that transition from freelancer to agency owner, or you're already inside the process, my best advice is to focus on business development. Work on the mindset. That's where really the big difference takes place. Even if you are a one-person agency, you can be to start off. In fact, we all are when we start off until we start bringing in more people. As a new freelancer, I focus on just the skills and on getting really good at my craft. But then as an agency owner, I started to focus in business development and getting really good at building a business. Now, here are a couple things that you could do to help you along that journey in business development. Number one is to consume the right content. Now, I could always tell if I'm in a good place of growth based on my Google and YouTube feeds. If I'm seeing articles based on business development and things inside my industry, I know I'm in a great place. But if I'm getting a bunch of stuff inside my feed that has nothing to do with business development, then I know I need to step up my game. Start to follow the YouTube channels where they do focus on the business side of the creative industry. I mean, not only do we got to start watching this and reading it, we got to obsess about it, okay? Obsession is a powerful tool. If you could obsess around business development and the content around it, you're going to do great. And there's some amazing, amazing content creators out there that are just providing incredible value. You got to find them and follow them. The next, start reading books. There's a lot of them. I mean, a couple of the books that changed my life that really helped me out with my mindset is The Win Without Pitching Manifesto and Built to Sell. Those are two that I always recommend, but there's a whole bunch of them. I mean, up there, those are all business development books. I just focus on reading and obsessing and just consuming those. The third thing you could do is to invest in business coaches and mentors and mastermind communities. Now, I know since COVID, a lot of coaches and life coaches just came out the woodworks. I mean, there's nothing more interesting than a 23-year-old life coach, but that's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about these get-rich-quick people. I mean, if anybody, I got to go back to the content because I stay so far away from anybody that says you could do this easy. Any of those get rich quick that, hey, if you do this, you can make this amount every single month super easy. I stay miles away from that because the truth is None of this is easy. This is hard work. Everything that I had to do to get here was grit. It was grind. It was painful. It was sacrifice after sacrifice. This is not easy. This is super hard. So you want to find the coaches and the teachers and the mentors that are going to keep it real. There's a lot of good ones out there. I invested in a business coach early on, and it helped me out a lot, having somebody come in to identify my problem and help me walk through it. If you think about our clients, when our clients come to us, they got a problem. Okay, they want a website built, but they want that built for a reason. And they're willing to invest money into fix this problem in their business. We got to look at it the same way. We got to be willing to invest. If you're not willing to invest in your own business and yourself financially, then you need to take a really strong look at, do you want to run a business or be an employee? A business owner is going to be willing to invest if they know that they're going to get a return out of their investment. And if you get a good business coach, if you get a good mentor, you will get a return out of it. I've had a couple already, and I will get more in the future. The best time to get a business coach is not at the very, very beginning. First, get your feet wet, start to learn, start to make some mistakes, and start to figure out where your problems are. Get some experience underneath your belt. And then when you start to figure out like, okay, I got this big challenge, it's really difficult to get through, then it's a good idea to start to explore the option of getting a business coach to help you through those big problems. Another thing too that is super, super value is a mastermind community. Now, there are plenty of great communities on Facebook. I belong to many of them and I love them. But there's just another type of value that you get out of a paid mastermind community. You're in a space where everybody is invested and in the process of growth. There are plenty others inside the WordPress space, in the web design and web creative space. We even got the Lightbox Pro Academy, things like that. These are spaces to be in that are going to really, really help you out. That are going to keep you on track and focused. And here's the thing, when you do invest in a mastermind community or a coach or mentor, you're going to want to get your money's worth out of it. So it's going to keep you in a place where you're going to keep putting in work and you're in that process of learning and growth. In fact, I remember there was a long stretch of time where I was in the Future Pro group. I was paying money that I could barely even afford, but I stayed in it anyways because I knew that it was going to push me. It was going to keep me on track. So there's a lot of value that comes inside that area and investing in yourself. The next thing is to keep evolving your mindset. Stay open-minded. Keep watching videos like this. Keep consuming the right content. Keep willing to learn and grow. Now, my first year as an agency owner, I failed hard. I failed painfully. And we want to avoid that. We shouldn't be failing that hard because I almost didn't make it through it. And a lot of people don't. So we don't want to fail big. We don't want to fail to the point where we're on our knees, but we do want to make a whole lot of small fails. That's part of building a business and growth. We want to keep making those little micro fails that doesn't bring us to our knees like a big one would, but would cause us to bounce and pivot. So stay open-minded, keep learning, keep growing, keep investing in yourself, and have fun. This is an amazing journey. It's a life-changing journey. I never thought I would be here, from being in warehouses and construction sites, dealing with terrible, terrible customers screaming at me at the Home Depot, to being where I'm at right here on a Crocoblock summit, surrounded with just incredible people inside the creative industries. I love it. This is an amazing journey. This is what fuels me and keeps me excited, is being around you and my people. I feel like anybody watching this, you are my people. We have something special, and I really want to see you succeed. Thank you again, Crocoblock, for inviting me to the summit. I'm really excited to be here. I hope that this added value and helped a lot of freelancers and agency owners out there. And I'm going to be around, so any questions that you got, drop them inside the live chat or inside the comments. I'm going to be keeping my ear to this, and I'm happy to connect and help anybody that I can. That's it for this talk. I really hope this helped you out. Thank you for watching.